Get rich fast with csgofast.com.
ESL Pro League Finals Day 2 is kind of halfway through, and we do have the first name in the first match behind us, Liquid beating Cloud9. I still want to kind of go back to the rest of the tournament, but before that, we didn't really talk about the whole change that you went through. You went through the change of coach, now obviously Simple as well. I know that with James you were kind of close and you agreed on a lot of stuff from what I know. So how did that even come together? We didn't really get your point of view on it.
I think it was mostly a team decision. We wanted to have somebody who had more input in the game. James was very good outside of the game, like preparing, trying to manage personalities. But it ultimately came down to we wanted somebody who could help me or Adren, whoever's in game leading, actually have like mid-round calls, rotations, all that stuff. And that's something that I don't think James did to the level that he should have. So the whole team decided, they thought we would be better either without a coach or trying out somebody else. So that's just what happened.
All right, so you talked about managing the personalities, and obviously Simple is a big personality. I imagine he was working with him a lot just to fix, I don't know, the obvious communication problems and all that stuff. So was him and Simple kind of connected the way that you kind of had to get rid of them both, or just one of them, or how did it work?
I think Simple definitely would not have been around if it wasn't for James, and I think even if there was a possibility of getting him back, I don't think he would do it without James. So with that being said, when Simple decided not to come back, it was just like, well, we don't have Simple anymore. James doesn't really have like that strong personality he needs to maintain or manage, and we want somebody who can help more in game. So, it was, that's just what happened.
All right, so you did play NIP first. I know that it's going to be a little rough for you to talk about because it was 14-2 at the beginning, and you just couldn't close it out. Why did that happen?
That's a good question. It seems to be a big problem we have been having lately. I mean, even ever since like IEM San Jose when we were up 15-7 on Navi, on Dust 2. I think it's a mental block that a couple of our guys have, and maybe even myself. I've kind of looked back at it and have thought about how I can maybe be more effective if we're not able to close rounds, like maybe lurk harder or be with the team more. And I think it's every time that we go down or we go up big and then they come back, there's always like their one round that we shouldn't have lost that kind of tilts everybody. So hopefully we can kind of focus on that. If we do lose a big round, hopefully our new coach can actually just be like, yo guys, it doesn't really matter, just chill out. And I mean, definitely a big problem we have right now. I definitely don't like being called choke quit or team liquid choke or whatever they call us on the forums. But ultimately it comes down to us just needing to fix our problems, us just making sure we don't tilt, even though we lose our round or even though we have 15 rounds, like we're not out of it yet. And I think that's just what we're going to be focusing on. You
mentioned that one round. Obviously, that's probably the 2v4 that you lost, or 4v2. I remember a little bit of it. I remember that you were going from Upper Dark. I think you had like 3 pulls there, but you went a little bit too slow. Did you realize that after you lost it, or how did that round kind of come together?
I think we had a guy actually at long that we wanted to have him fake, and he ended up just going through a smoke and dying or something. So probably in the perfect world, he either comes all the way back with us or he just like completely hard lurks and just doesn't even show himself and just ends up flanking them. But yeah, I think people were getting a little antsy in B, and I actually think we could have gone even slower. Like I think I still had full nades that round that I could have smoked door and maybe even just crossed for free. But yeah, I mean, just little things like that just cost us matches. So again, that's something that we're definitely going to be focusing on. That's definitely our like main priority right now, is to make sure like when we get up that we actually can close games.
Mm-hmm. So then you played Cloud9, your kind of domestic rivals. You've had quite a lot of games online, but this time it seemed kind of straightforward. Obviously, Dust 2, I think it was 12-8, and there was the big pause. I think there was some kind of a problem in the game. Does that, kind of touching on the pauses, does that affect the team morale? Does it affect the momentum that you have? What do you think it does to you?
I mean, I think that match in total took like 2 hours to complete just for one map. So it was definitely really tiring. We had to wake up early. We were definitely still getting over our jet lag a little bit. We've been in Austin for we flew in like a day before the event, so yeah, it was definitely tiring, and that really long pause at 12-8. I mean, it took the momentum out of our hands and gave it to them, and they just kind of rolled with it. But yeah, I think my teammates are experienced enough now. They've been to enough events that they know this is just something to expect, and they know how to like compose themselves if something like this does happen. So I think we were able to luckily we were able to come back and take it to overtime and close them out. But yeah, I think the pause definitely hurt our momentum a little bit.
All right. So what about? I mean, there's not too much to talk about Kabul. Obviously, you kind of came back with that second round on the second half because you won the force bind. From there on, it was pretty much straightforward. What did you think about the maps overall? Because obviously, Dust 2 and Kabul both fit you very well. You play those two maps. Probably those two. You play them the most, I guess. So how did that work for you? How did you feel about the maps?
We actually knew exactly what we were going to play them on. It's always Dust 2 Kabul Cash against Cloud9 every single time. So, we prepared pretty well for it. We went over exactly what they do. We knew that they probably wouldn't have much time to change their stuff since Austin. So definitely some anti-shredding went on. And yeah, I mean, Dust 2 Kabul Cash are definitely very, as you said, we played a lot. We've practiced it a lot. So we definitely feel comfortable on them.
All right, so there's one last thing that I kind of noticed is that you have a new guy behind you. We kind of talk about backstage, but why don't you just go through why is he now standing behind the team? What's the plan with coaches in the future?
Yeah, so his name is Joka Steve. He is an old school. He played Source and I think 1.6 for a little bit. He has been the general manager of the Team Liquid League of Legends team for like the last 2 years. So when we were at the boot camp, he tried to help us out, and he seemed like he got really into it and he really wanted to try it. So we tried him out at DreamHack Austin. He was there with us as well. Seemed to be pretty good, and he seemed to be something that he wanted to do. So we brought him out to London. He's doing his best to prepare, doing as much as he can. Even in that match, he made a lot of good calls that really helped us. I think he's actually 100% right now. The few times he actually called the strat, we won every single time. So he might be something long term. We might be looking for something else. But for the short term at least, he seems to be helping us out a lot.
Okay, so now just a follow-up question. You already talked about kind of switching in-game leaders with Adren. Now you have the coach also kind of calling at least a few times. So how does the whole in-game leading work now in the team?
So I was calling before at the major, and then we switched to Adren again ever since the boot camp that we did in LA. He mostly calls like a lot of the early round stuff. He makes a lot of decisions. I'll help out mid rounds with whatever I hear. I am on the other side of the map lurking a lot of the time, so I give him my input that I hear and make mid-round calls. But then obviously Joka Steve helps with mid-round stuff, preparing. If he sees something that shouldn't be happening, he'll call it. So between us three, we have a lot of information going on. I think we're doing pretty good in game waiting.
All right, so thanks very much for the interview. Good talk as always. Now's the time for your plugs.
Of course. Shout out to all the Liquid sponsors out there. Without you guys, who knows where we would be. Shout out to all the fans, all the family, the Hiko homies. I know you guys are watching. And as always, shout out to my mom. Love you, Mom.
All right, as always, shout outs to Mom. We're still going to come back from day 2 at Leicester for the ESL Pro League Season 3 finals, so stay tuned to HLTV.org.